Hey guys, do you find it really hard to find trouser patterns that actually fit your unique measurements? Apparently this is quite a common complaint and something that we wanted to, let's say, resolve. So we've spent the last 2 years working on a solution. We've created a series of trouser and jeans patterns, or basic blocks, that are automatically drafted using Pattern Lab software to fit your exact measurements. To showcase this new range of made-to-measure, let's say, trouser blocks or basic blocks, we asked a group of women to help us test the fit and give us their honest and true feedback when it came to the finished product. So let's get started. Hey Hannah, thank you so much for coming in today. It's a real pleasure to meet you, and everything good?
Everything's great.
Perfect, excellent. Okay, so as I explained to you before, obviously we are looking for a selection of women of all different shapes and sizes and heights to basically test our product. So our new, let's say, trouser blocks. So the idea is to create something that fits you really accurately, if not perfectly. But first of all, before we do that, we kind of want to understand what kind of fit issues you've had in the past when it comes to shopping for clothes online or in clothing stores.
I would say trousers are definitely the most tricky. For me, being very short, the length is always a problem. So most high street stores, and I've tried probably all of them, the trousers tend to be extremely long, which normally means you either have to get them adjusted or not buy them at all.
Sure.
And obviously you don't want to have something tailored when you're buying them from the high street in the first place. And then the second one, probably equally important, is that my waist tends to be narrower than my hips, and therefore getting something that fits both of them without a lot of gaping at the waist is nigh on impossible.
Okay.
And again, you can adjust that with a belt, but I don't think it looks very nice. And on a smart pair of trousers, the last thing you want is to kind of ruche it with a belt and then ruin the overall silhouette.
Okay, just keep it quite minimalistic.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially you're talking about disproportionate waist to hip and also the length of the trousers to sum it up. And obviously,
exactly.
Okay. So as I said, like, this is something we can definitely resolve, or definitely certainly fix, because obviously we're going to be taking your actual body measurements and then creating a pair of trousers that fit you perfectly. So obviously the length is very, very easy to fix, but obviously taking those measurements for the waist and the hips separately, we should get something that actually tailors really well to your waist and your hip line. So it should be good. So first what we're going to do is we're going to actually begin by taking some of your measurements, so 7 in total, and then from that we'll put it into the lab, and then we'll start to draft your basic trouser block, and we can see what happens.
Great.
Cool, okay, excellent. Okay, so before we take your measurements, it's really important to mention that we need to be wearing the right kind of attire. So if you're wearing a big, thick, heavy jumper, or let's say jeans, then it's going to be a little bit difficult getting your accurate measurements because obviously there's going to be fabric in the way. So this is why leggings, or let's say shorts, or like a little fitted top, is absolutely perfect when it comes to taking measurements. Also, we've basically isolated the waistline, just so whenever we take our measurements, we're going to be going from this point always. So this is perfect. So now I'm just going to take 7 of your measurements, and then from there, we're obviously going to start making your trousers. Cool. Okay, so first of all, we take the waist, hip, and waist to hip measurements. These are 3 really important measurements that will control the fit of the trousers around Hannah's lower torso. Hannah mentioned that the waist on the commercial trousers is often too large in relation to her hips. So taking these measurements is not only imperative to drafting the trousers, but it should give us a better fit on the waist regardless of the hip size. We also need the waist to floor measurement, which is imperative when it comes to getting the correct length, although this is something that we can adjust during the fitting process. Next, we have the knee and ankle measurements. These simply tell us how wide to make the trousers for this particular leg size. Finally, we have the body rise measurement, which creates the crotch depth and the crotch curvature. So yet another very key measurement. Okay, so now we have all of your 7 unique measurements. I'm just going to simply head on over to the Mac. I'm going to open up the Pattern Lab website. I'm going to create your profile, add your unique measurements, and then we'll start drafting you a truly unique or made-to-measure pair of trousers using your specific measurements. And the next time I see you, we will have a sample made up for you, which you then try on, and we can then obviously test the fit and see what happens. But either way, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Cool. All right. Okay, so here's the Pattern Lab website. What we'll do is simply just going to navigate to profiles. So I'm just going to create a new profile, and I'm going to call it Hannah May 21 test. I'm just going to go to, don't worry about this, Pattern Lab Public Women. I have an admin account that's slightly different. And I'm just going to start adding her measurements. But before I do that, we don't actually need to add all of her 28 measurements. I'm just going to simply click on trousers, which should bring up a list of the measurements we need to actually draft the trouser block, which is really helpful. So now I'm just going to enter her measurements really quickly. Perfect. Next, I'm just going to simply click Draft Block. And here we have our trouser block. You can also choose the jeans block if you prefer. And obviously, it started to actually prep this or prepare this in the lab as a visual representation. As you can see, we also have the Hana 21 test profile, let's say, added here. You can obviously change it to whatever profile you want if you already have profiles added to your account. This we're just going to click next and go to the fit. And once again, we're going to look at the relaxed fit trouser, and then it obviously brings up all the various different eases that are associated with this block. We've made some ever so slightly minor adjustments to these eases. In some of our other videos, you might have seen 0.5 and 1 here. We've actually made these slightly smaller just to improve the fit around the body. But as I said, you can change these eases if you wish, and also change the knee and ankle ease to change a different leg. You can also select between these different fits, and obviously if we go for the slim fit, it will give you different eases in there, same with the classic fit, etc. But we're going to use the relaxed fit because that's the block we're using for all of our, let's say, participants. I'm just going to click Advanced. So we also have some Advanced tab options here. For example, you can change the dart ratios. You can also increase or decrease the front arc measurements on the waist and hip. So for example, if you have a larger, let's say, bum, then you could obviously reduce the front hip arc, increasing the back hip arc, which would then change the side seam to be more, let's say, in line with your body. Next, we have custom crotch extensions. So for example, if the crotch is too wide from center front to center back, then you could obviously reduce these as well. And we have front drop and back rise. I'm not going to go into all of these in too much detail because we have a tutorial coming up that will show you how to, let's say, use these advanced options, but it's just simply there if you want to experiment. Otherwise, these styles have been tested and yeah, they're looking pretty good. So you can just simply use the relaxed, classic or slim fit. So let's use the relaxed fit. I'm then going to go to next to length. I'm going to go for the high waist option. I'm going to go to the floor length. So we have a bit of, let's say, room to play with when it comes to Hana's length. But you can also include a custom length here. So for example, if she was wearing heels, you could always measure from the waist down to the finished length while she's wearing the heels. And that would give you the finished length when you typed it in here. So for example, if her waist to ankle is 99.5, we could always type that as 102, for example. But let's just simply go back. There we go. So let's just go for the floor length. Great stuff. Next we go for the front. So once again, if you have the low waist option selected, you'll actually be able to see these two options. But we have the high waist selected, which means we only get the options here. So we can either have no pockets or we can have high waisted / pockets. And these are slightly different to the low waist version. These pockets float on the trouser block, whereas these ones do not. So let's just click high waist / pocket. And as you can see, it's starting to draft it in the preview on the right-hand side. I'm going to go for back patch pockets. And then for the waistband, we're going to go for an external waistband with fly, but you have 4 or 3 other options to choose from. We can even change the waistband depth. So we can make this 3 or 2.5 or whatever you wish. I'm going to go to the next button, and here we are on the purchase tab. So for my reference, I could always add in, let's say, an order number or possibly a customer number if I wanted to, and it'd be associated with your block. But we have 2 different options here. So you can either download it as an e-pattern, which is a fully editable, let's say, digital pattern, which you can then obviously edit in any SVG editing software, such as Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape or CorelDRAW. You can also use these with our online tutorials. If you go to courses, pattern making course, you'll find some tutorials on digital pattern making and how to do that in Adobe Illustrator. But for now, I'm just simply, because I'm not going to be making any adjustments to this block, this can be a completely raw draft. We're going to see what it looks like without any alterations or changes, just using the style that we obviously selected in the fit tab. So I'm just going to click PDF, so I'm going to save and download my PDF. Now this should normally take me to a payment screen, but obviously because I'm an admin user, I'm not going to see that. It's going to take me straight to my library page. Now this page you will see directly after making payment. Here we go. So as you can see, here's our trouser block, and it's on, currently at the moment, it's on A4 PDFs. Now we have a really handy little tool that allows you to move these around and save as much paper as you wish. But we can also, before I do that, I can change the side seam allowance and also the overall seam allowance. So I'm just going to click 1 centimeter, which means our side seams are now 1 cm, not 2 cm. And the lab's just going to think about it and redraft that pattern. And as you can see, we now have 1 cm all over the entire block. And I'm going to use A4, but you can also use different options like A3, A2, A1, and even A0 and US letter. We even have a handy little function which is paper roll. So if you do borderless printing, or let's say on a roll printer, you could obviously use this option as well. But let's click A4. And I'm just going to move these into position to get a far better let's say, fit on my PDF pages. Also, if you hold down the Shift key, you can actually click and rotate these panels. So let's just click, drag and drop. And I'm just going to speed this process up. Obviously, you don't want any panels overlapping or you might lose them. So let's just do that. Okay, I think we're done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so all our panel pieces are on the page and nothing's overlapping, which is great. I'm just going to click Save Layout. And let's simply click Download PDF A4. And as you can see, it's now produced that full-scale PDF document that's broken Hana'S full-size pattern up into individual pages. If I click on each page, you can see that when we print it, it's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply, let's just save this to my desktop. So right-click, Save As. Let's go Desktop, and we're going to call it Hana Relax Fit High Waist Trouser Block. Save, and it'll save as a PDF document to your desktop. And I'm just going to minimize this. There we go. Let's double click on Hana'S PDF just to make sure it's there. And as you can see, there is our lovely full-scale pattern in all of its glory. I'm just going to hit Command P to print, and then once again, just going to make sure the scale is 100%. Do not use fit to page or scale to fit. That will obviously create a pattern that is not going to fit you. So it must be 100% fit or scale at all times. I'm just going to click black and white just to make sure I save on paper, or save on ink cartridges. I'm just going to click print. And while that's printing, the next step is I'm just simply going to start to piece these pattern pieces together and then obviously print them. Sorry, I'm going to piece them together, cut them out in fabric, and we're going to start sampling our trouser panel, our trouser block. And here is our finished pair of trousers, which took us roughly about 4 hours to make, out of that lovely crepe material. So we just now need to get our model in for a fitting tomorrow, and then we'll just chuck these in the trouser press just to give them a little bit of time in there just to make sure they're absolutely perfect for the shoot tomorrow. But all in all, quite happy with the construction, so yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so this is the kind of finished sample. How do you feel about the fit?
So the waist is perfect. First time I tried it on, which is very unusual because normally trousers swim around my waist. It's kind of evened out that difference between waist to hip ratio.
Perfect. Because obviously you had a slightly disproportionately smaller waist to like the hip line, which is good. The length, obviously we've made them a little bit too long, so if you're walking in mud, you might have a problem. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we can make them as long or as short as we like, so this is fine for now. There is one slight issue though when it comes to this block, so let me just reiterate. These trousers have been created with no adjustments whatsoever. So we put her measurements into the lab system and this is what it came out with. So no alterations as yet. So I'm quite happy with the fit already. However, there's one slight issue, so if you turn around. So as you can see here, The back rise, there's a little bit of rippling around here, and all you need is just removing about 0.5 from the back rise measurement. So if we were to alter these, or maybe like make a new pair, we would just remove 0.5 from that back rise in the lab, and then we'd have a really, really well-fitting pair of trousers. Hannah, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been a real pleasure having you. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Great.
Fantastic. So as I said, I think we've got a fantastic fit for you. Once again, finally the waist actually fitting you perfectly. Also, the hips are looking good as well. Overall, the length is pretty good, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah? You happy?
Really happy. This is the best bit I think I've had.
Fantastic.
First round.
Good. Okay, cool. Well, look, you have a photo shoot literally in 1 minute's time. I just have a quick chat with these guys. So, yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so not a bad first draft after all. As I mentioned, we've got a photo shoot coming up, so please stay tuned to watch that if you'd like to see the finished result of all of our hard work. In the meantime, I just want to mention this product is now live on the patternlab.london website. So if you want to create a really beautiful pair of fitted trousers or well-fitting trousers, simply head on over to the patternlab.london website, create a profile, add your measurements, and then start drafting your trouser block in the lab. It's really, really that simple. Also, if you've learned something new or found inspiration from this project or from this video, then please feel free to leave us some comments in the comments section. It's really fun to hear your feedback, your inspiration, like your ideas. It kind of really brings life to the projects that we work on. Anyway, in the meantime, let's head on over to the photo shoot and see the finished result of all of our hard work. Hey guys, okay, so once again, a huge thank you to Hannah. It's been a real pleasure having her in, and it's been such a fun day, especially the photo shoot. Okay, so as I mentioned before, there are 6 women that participated in this project. So if you want to get access to all of those videos, then please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notifications. We've got loads more great content coming your way, which we'd absolutely hate for you to miss. Also, just don't forget to check out our Instagram page. We've got loads of backstage videos and also images from the actual photo shoot that Hannah did that we're not going to release anywhere else. Also, finally, thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure making these videos or tutorials. We love hearing your thoughts and feedback, so please leave us a comment in the comment section below. Anyway, take care guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you again next time. Take care.